Hello, welcome to the Quakes Motel. My name's Conan. In today's video, we're going to be looking at parallel compression, or New York compression as some people call it, in the MPC Standalone. Let's jump in. Okay, so what this is not going to be is an in-depth video on what parallel compression is. There's a ton of information out there on YouTube explaining exactly. I'll go into the basics of it, but really this video is going to be concentrating on how you can actually get that effect in the MPC. And as is always the case, there is more than one way to do it. This isn't a definitive video. I also would like to point that out. I'm just going to show you 3 techniques which I use myself. Okay, so quickly, in layman's terms, what is parallel compression? Parallel compression is taking your dry signal and mixing it with a signal that's been compressed. What we quite often do is we will place the compression on the actual source, and that will just give us the sound of the source going into the compressor and what comes out the other side. Parallel compression is sending the source to a compressor and then mixing the signal from the compressor with the dry signal. So there's 3 ways that I do it in the MPC. Like I said, it's not definitive. As always, I'm going to be demonstrating it on a drum beat. I will say that parallel compression is brilliant on drums, but it is also great on other sources as well. I'll go into that later on, but we're just going to show it on a drum beat today because it's just the simplest way to demonstrate it. So at pad level, you can see we're at pad level here. You can go channel level or pad level. We'll go into the effects and we will add a air compressor. We will go into the air compressor. We will change this because it's mental. Don't know why that is the initial preset. Okay, so as you can see at the moment, there's no compression going on. So this is using the compressor and parallel compression using the mix knob in the actual compressor. Now, if you're used to using VST compressors, most of them have mix knobs, and some of them, actually I think all the compressors in the MPC do also have mix knobs. I have done a video on compressors in the MPC, so feel free to check that out. So easiest, quickest way to do it. And all the techniques I'm going to show you have their pros and their cons, but the easiest and quickest way is add the compressor to the actual source, start compressing, and then mix the dry signal, we'll start with 50%, with the compressed signal. So generally the idea behind parallel compression is to over-compress, get that real kind of slamming 1176 style compression sound. It isn't always, but generally that's what people tend to use it for. And the point is that you get that really, really nice slamming compression sound, and then you mix it with the dry signal. So it's not overly compressed, but you still get the elements of that real solid compression sound. So as I said, that's generally the reason why people use parallel or New York compression, as it's sometimes called. So you can see there that, that with the way that I've got it set up, I am kind of over compressing it. 3 to 9 or 4 to 1 maybe, like a DBX 160, over compressing it and then mixing that over compressed signal in with the original dry signal. Like I said, I'm not going to go into too much detail on actual parallel compression. I'm literally showing you today how you can do it in the MPC. So that's one of the ways of doing it. The pros of that is it's very, very quick and it's very, very easy. The disadvantages of that is you have no control over the sound once it comes out the other side of the compressor unless you add more effects. So you're kind of tied into you don't have control over your dry signal anymore because obviously you've got the insert effect rather than a send effect, which I'll show you in a second, and you don't have as much control over that. But there's nothing wrong with it. It's a quick and easy way to do parallel compression, and obviously with modern compressors in the MPC and VSTs, you have that mix knob, which you don't tend to have in the original compressors like the 1176 and the LA2A, that kind of thing. So the advantages is with this, obviously, very, very quick. So another way of doing it is using simultaneous play in the MPC. One of the great things about the MPC. So if we go to Program Edit, at the moment, we're playing pad A01. Now, if I set this up so that it also plays pad A02, nothing is going to happen at the moment. What I need to do is I need to copy pad A01, pop it onto 2, and there we go. Now, obviously, you're going to get a change in level because I'm now playing 2 pads at the same time. But what you can now do is, at pad level, and I have already done it here, as you can see, you can now compress the pad that's being played simultaneous. And then you can obviously dial in the volume of it as well. So bear in mind, when I hit A01, it's also playing A02. But A02 is a compressed version. Sorry, I've just turned that off. There we go. So let's slam that. And now, sorry, I didn't mean to hit that then. So now obviously I can change the volume, dial it in. Now I want to add a bit in there, obviously. Now, again, that's quite an easy way of doing things. And the advantages are as well that you do have a little bit more control over how you process the actual compressed signal. That's the difference. If you have it as an insert effect on you're going to have the dry signal, then it goes into the compressor, and then any kind of work that you do after that to try and change how the compressor sounds with EQ, etc., you're actually going to be affecting the whole dry signal. The good thing about parallel compression is, and in this case you'd be able to do it, any EQs or distortion or any saturation or whatever I want to add to just the compressed sound, I can do that easily enough, and it's not going to affect the dry signal. So that's another pretty easy way of doing it, but it's a little bit more convoluted, I guess would be the word. So the third technique I use, and this does tend to be the technique that I use most of the time, I use this technique in my DAW as well, is to put the compressor on a send effect. Now, if you use my template, or you've watched the video on my template, you will know that on the sends, I have send 1, I have a reverb, send 2, a delay, and send 3, there's a compressor. And that compressor has been put there specifically for parallel compression. So again, this is the pad, A01. I want to send to send 3 because on send 3, you can see here, I have a compressor set up. So let's go back out to here. Let's turn that all the way up to 0. So we're sending the signal fully to the compressor. And let's go back into here. That's not what we wanted to do. And obviously you can see here what work I'm doing with the compressor here. And if I come out, I can now control the amount of signal that I want blended with the dry signal. So this is the compressed sound, and then we've got the dry signal sound. So that would be 100% dry. So you can hear the compressed signal. I've over-compressed it, so you get that kind of pumpy, you're reducing the dynamic range, so you're bringing up the noise floor, you get a bit of punch in there, and then you can mix that sound in with the dry signal. Now, again, this is a little bit more convoluted than just sticking the compressor on the insert, but the benefits, the biggest benefits of having it on a send effect is that you have absolute control over the return signal, the compressor basically. So as you can see here, for instance, I've got a power EQ. Now with this power EQ, if you use compressors indoors quite a lot, DAWs, you will know that some of them have the ability to be able to roll off the bass so that the bass is not affecting the actual compressor, or you can roll off the highs so that the hi-hats, etc., are not affecting the compressor. And most compressors in DAWs have that built in now, but you don't have that luxury in the MPC compressors. There's no way of doing that. So what you can do with this kind of chain setup, with it as a return, I can affect the signal going into the compressor before it goes into the compressor. So basically, if I wanted to, and I didn't want any of the lows to affect the compressor, I can take all the way up. And now what it will be doing is it will basically only be compressing anything above, roughly above, because we've got a 12 dB slope. So roughly, I would never go that high. I'm just doing it to show you. But, you know, generally I would probably be round about there. And that would basically have me set up in a situation where none of the low end of the actual signal is affecting the compressor. The advantages you also have with that as well, obviously, is that you've got slots afterwards where you can add saturation or whatever you want to add to the compressor signal. And, you know, again, the advantages of that is that you're only affecting the actual compressor. And of course, in turn to that, you also can EQ or do whatever you want to do with the dry signal as well. And that's not going to be affecting the return. So there you have it. That was a very, very, very basic video on explaining how to do parallel compression in the MPC. If you want to know more about parallel compression, honestly, there are loads of really, really good videos on YouTube that are just about parallel compression. So you can learn a little bit more about them. But I just wanted to show basically today how you can actually do parallel compression in the MPC, the different ways that you can do it. And I'm sure there are other ways of doing it, but they're the three ways that I tend to use, the pros and the cons of doing that. Now, going back to what I said earlier on about me using a drum beat to demonstrate parallel compression is really, really good on drums. One of the techniques that people have been using for years is to smash the overheads on a drum kit and then blend that signal back in. That's a classic rock kind of mixing engineer trick, but it can also be used in hip hop as well. It can be used in any genre, but drums are really, really good for parallel compression. But another source that's really, really good for parallel compression is vocals. You can get that real kind of upfront pop sound, commercial sound, where you can over compress the vocals, reduce the dynamic range, bring up the quiet parts, and then blend them with the dry signal. That's a classic technique that's used on probably almost all commercial releases with the vocals. Live bass is another source that's really, really good for parallel compression. I mean, look, you know, as is always the case, there are no rules. You can use parallel compression on any signal that you want to. Experiment, mess around with it, but I'm just saying that those are the general sources that people will use them on: vocals, live bass, and drums. So thanks for watching. This is the Crates Motel. My name's Conan. Till next time.